All right. We are live and we have attendees flowing in. Hi Manoj, hi Saptrishi. Thank you for joining in. You're the first people here. Hi Nayan, Dia, Rajesh. I'm going to keep giving out a few names until I run out of space. But thank you so much for joining us on this Thursday evening. I think we'll just wait for a couple of minutes to have more people come on, and then we'll go live. But how's everyone doing? Tell us where you're from, what you do in the chat. Would love to know more about where you're joining from, what your role is, which company you work for, what are you looking forward to in this webinar. We would love to know more about you. जितना आप हमें अपने बारे में बताएंगे उतना हम वेबिनार को और टेलर कर सकते हैं. And obviously, please keep adding questions. This is completely designed to help. And Vishal sir is an expert. So, and my newest friend. No, Vishal is my newest friend right now in e-commerce and logistics. I get a lot of yaad from him because 10 साल से आपने business बनाया यार. So I think that's been and what I absolutely loved was the story that you told me, which is you and your wife and your partner and his wife are all building the business together, which is completely incredible. So something wonderful for us to see as well. All right, I think we're 2 minutes in. In the interest of time, I think start karte hain.
Yeah.
We should not, for everyone who's joined in. Thank you, everyone. Welcome to SquadStack and Shipyaari's webinar. We're talking about e-commerce, logistics, and revenue. बहुत important topic given the nature of our business. It's very operations heavy, and so logistics is a very, very key part of this. And when Vishal and I met for breakfast a couple of weeks back, we were sitting and discussing some of these problem statements. यार क्या challenges आते हैं? Consumers की क्या expectations है, in terms of what they need right now and what it takes to be a successful e-commerce business in today's day and age when you're competing with giants. And so we just literally came up with the idea कि यार ऐसा कुछ करते हैं. It'll be fun. Jo literally the 1 hour conversation we had, we turned it into a webinar script. And so, thanks so much, Vishal, for jumping on. Quick introductions. Vishal is the co-founder of Shipyaari. Been there, done that, last 10 years. And he's a CA, by the way. So, matlab, it's a big shift from someone from accounting to logistics. And इन्होंने मुझे समझाया था कि सब numbers का धंधा है. So it's actually not very difficult.
कौन सा धंधा number का नहीं है, Rishabh?
That's true. And Shipyaari has grown in the last 2 years massively and come on the scene. And we're really excited to have you, Vishal. Would love for you to maybe 2 minutes अपने बारे में about your story for the audience.
Thank you, Rishabh, for having me today. As you said, that this space is very exciting. The e-commerce space, the D2C space, and the current startup ecosystem, wherein the entrepreneurship का जो एक trend चल रहा है, that is a really very exciting space to be in. And definitely our vision is to help anybody and everybody who wants to get into this space, and they want to understand things, how things work, how things should be, and basically पैसा कैसे कमाया जाता है, स्केल कैसे किया जाता है, इसी को लेके हमने जो शिपयारी भी बनाई है. So that was the whole idea as to how we can simplify the hassles of logistics. Because e-commerce में अगर आप देखोगे तो e-commerce में 3 चीजें हैं: प्रोडक्ट है, मार्केटिंग और लॉजिस्टिक्स है. आपका प्रोडक्ट सही है, आपकी मार्केटिंग सही है, बट आपके अगर लॉजिस्टिक्स सही नहीं है तो it will not give you any kind of returns out of it. So to have a better return, definitely you should have a good logistics support, and that was the key idea to start the the journey of Shipyaari, कि कैसे हम लोग चीज़ों को स्टैंडर्डाइज कर सके. The standardization of onboarding, standardization of reporting, standardization of making scheduling shipments, pickups, reports, because इससे पहले ऐसा कोई था नहीं. आपको इंडिविजुअली हर कुरियर से बात करना है, इंडिविजुअली हर चीज़ों के साथ आपको खुद को डील करना है. So we thought that this is something which is very unproductive for a business to have to put your head on. So we said that we become your outsourced logistic partner, and you give us all your hassles and we'll simplify it for you. And that is how the Shipyaari born. And yes, we have been working with a lot of startups, lot of enterprises, and we love to solve their challenges in terms of making their supply chain really very smooth.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you for that introduction, Vishal. It's always good to understand कि यार inception story क्या थी, because that helps understand motivations. Quickly wanted to talk about the summary of this. हम लोग क्या क्या बात कर रहे हैं? We're talking about सारे logistics processes in your e-commerce journey, and where all can you drive certain inputs to get better outputs. Talking about, if you have to break it down, we'll break it down into 3 parts: pre-order, during order, and post-order. And तीनों aspects में what can be done. And then specifically talking about reviews and repurchase, because you're all paying a lot of money to generate ads.
Correct.
And if you don't have repurchases, then it becomes very difficult. And talking about feedback and customer insights to make your entire process better. And what can be done there as well. Those are the 3-4 broad areas we're talking about today. So jumping in, I think this is not new for anyone. Every business, these are the top 3 or 4, 5 metrics that everyone is sitting and wondering, here, how do I solve this, right? So cart abandonment rate, the biggest problem you have.
Correct.
For most people, everything's done and they don't buy. And at that point, you have lost a low-hanging fruit. And that number can be as high as 70-80% sometimes for companies. I spoke to a company last week and they said, we're losing 2,000 orders every day because of abandoned cart at an average order value of 500 rupees. So दिन का कितना amount आप सोच लो,
10 लाख का तो ऐसे ही चला गया.
10 लाख का धंधा जा रहा है दिन का, right? And we're not able to plug that leak. उसको मैं 10% से भी improve कर दूं धीरे-धीरे, right? Massive returns. So it's a funnel, right? At the end of the day.
But 70% abandoned cart, Rishabh, as in definitely some serious issue with the site. As in, what do you say? As in, what could be the best way to avoid these things? As in 70% that धंधा ही कैसे कर रहे हो?
Sir, कर रहे कुछ लोग, I think, and I think ultimately, obviously, it's a function of checkout rate. आपका payment drop-off rate होता है. There's so many problems that happen, and every business is different. At the end of the day, some can be dropping as much as 30-35%. I've seen as high as 70% as well. And obviously, massive challenge, and we'll talk about why and what can be done. NDR and RTO are your areas of expertise. You know how crazy this problem is.
Yeah.
You want to share some light on what that number looks like for the industry?
See, NDR, definitely there are 2 ways of NDR. One could be due to the customer related issues, and one could be due to the carrier related issues.
Yeah.
So when depending upon payment mode as well. So if it is a prepaid mode, if the deliveries are in prepaid mode, the NDR ratio is quite low. But when it comes down to COD, which is almost 60-70% of Indian e-commerce is based on COD payment mode, वो केस में NDR थोड़ा high रहता है. So NDR is not exactly returns. NDR is something which is the shipments are not getting delivered.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
The reasons could be either, like I said, either could be from the customer end that he is not available, etc., or could be from the carrier's end that they have not attempted, or they will attempt the next day, and so on and so forth. So these are the NDR thing. And high return or RTO is basically shipments which are not getting delivered and returning back to the sellers. which again, in case of prepaid, it is very low. But in case of COD, it is high as 30% to 40% as well, depending upon which category it is. So if you are into a very generic category, it could be more. If you are into very niche category, the RTO ratio depends slightly upon that as well. So niche category का RTO ratio कम होगा, but RTO ratio again carrier के वजह से भी काफी बार होता है. If due to some operational challenges and all, कितना उसका percentage है वो देखना पड़ता है. Yeah.
Got it. Then reviews, obviously, everyone is looking for social proof and validation.
Yeah.
And all of us are trying to drive, I think reviews and repeat order is sort of एक साथ combined, if I have to talk about it. Reviews, अगर आपके पास कोई intentional strategy नहीं है reviews generate करने की, and if you're not doing that proactively, you're not increasing an organic user base, you're not creating promoters, you're not creating a social brand and massive problem statement for any business. Lower repeat order rate, again, if you have a consumable product, आपको पता है आपका product, you're selling a D2C brand, you're selling something that is like a shampoo or a hair tonic or a weight loss program or something else. Not having a meaningful repurchase program can affect repeat buying behavior, and काफी बार आप उसको as an upsell cross-sell strategy भी देख सकते हैं. You're not doing it. Several companies are not doing that properly. And because your cost of acquisition initially is high through paid ads, not having this is a problem statement. And lastly, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, again, both poor customer reviews and lower repeat, it ultimately affects your LTV. अगर आपका lifetime value कोई customer का कम है, तो definitely you are playing with very high CAC. So ultimately, if आप अच्छे reviews लेके आओ, आपका CAC कम हो जाएगा because customer will do. So it is inverse or maybe directly proportional to each other that way. Yeah.
Right. And actionable insights is something that is something that's very close to my heart. At least I was talking to a founder of a D2C brand, and he told me that, yeah, I spend about 6-7 hours every week listening to customer feedback. I call customers if I get a bad review or a CSAT score or poor NPS. मैं अपनी support team के साथ बैठता हूँ हर हफ्ते to understand क्या हो रहा है. And I was sitting and thinking, you care so much about what customers think, but your time is so valuable, लेकिन आप जाके support कर रहे हो. And while that is great at early stages, it is not scalable. It's not something you can do day in, day out.
Yeah.
And most teams do not have a good way of getting good feedback out of your customers in terms of how is the new product, why are they returning the product, what are they not happy about, if there's a problem with the product, what is it? Using that data to go back and see, oh, this was a manufacturing defect, or was this a problem with a new line that we launched, or what are people needing? And because the market is so competitive right now in each category, if you're not listening to your customers and innovating, then it's difficult to survive in that market.
Correct. Definitely.
Right?
Yeah.
तो यार ये सब जरूरी क्यों है? I think Vishal, when we met for breakfast a couple of weeks back, you said कि यार आपको product महंगा बेचना है लेकिन आपको logistics सस्ती चाहिए. And that's a mindset issue that people have. And so tell me more about it. Like why is this so important to discuss?
See, ultimately, like I मैंने जैसे पहले ही बताया, e-commerce में 3 चीजें हैं: प्रोडक्ट, मार्केटिंग एंड लॉजिस्टिक्स. आपको ये तीनों में भी इन्वेस्ट करना पड़ेगा. अल्टीमेटली तीनों में से कोई, these are the 3 main important pillars. If you don't invest or if any of the one pillar is weak, then आपका पूरा business collapse होने का there is a big chance that business can get collapsed. So why to spend or why to invest more on the logistic part is that आपने कैटलॉग, आपने प्रोडक्ट अच्छा ला लिया, कैटलॉगिंग सही कर दी, आपने मार्केट करके पैसा खर्चा करके कस्टमर लेके आ गए, but if you are not able to deliver that customer, then you have spent everything but you have not earned anything out of it. So logistics play a very important role here, and it is the only function which will derive revenue to you. अगर वो नहीं रहेगा तो आपको रेवेन्यू ऐसे भी नहीं आने वाला।
राइट, वेरी
अगर आप
इंटरेस्टिंग।
बोलोगे कि बॉस मेरे को बेस्ट ऑफ द सर्विस चाहिए बट आई कैन नॉट पे मोर देन दिस परसेंट और दैट परसेंट, अल्टीमेटली सर्विस है, राइट? एंड सर्विस है, कॉस्ट है उसके उसके साथ एसोसिएटेड। अगर आप बोलोगे कि मैं 20 रुपए दूंगा मेरे को लेकिन चाहिए 100 रुपए वाली सर्विस, तो आपको सर्विस 20 की ही मिलेगी। फिर आपके लिए वो सारे रीजंस खड़े हो जाएंगे, आपका एनडीआर बढ़ जाएगा, आपके आरटीओ बढ़ जाएंगे, बिकॉज देर आर कॉस्ट एसोसिएटेड टू इट। एंड definitely if we are not paying the service providers the amount, then they also have some kind of limitations. रादर जैसे मैंने आपको बताया था उस दिन हम डिस्कस कर रहे थे, मैं तो बोलूंगा कस्टमर शुड से कि बॉस 10 रुपए ऊपर लो बट ये टाइम पे डिलीवर करो। दैट गिव्स अस द चैलेंज टू गो ओवरबाउंड एंड डू थिंग्स दैट इज meant to be done, give the experience what they have promised to their customers. So आज के डेट
अग्रीड।
में प्रॉमिस जो है, ब्रांड प्रॉमिस कर देता है बट वो प्रॉमिस कभी भी लॉजिस्टिक कंपनी से अलाइन नहीं होता। मैं बोल रहा हूँ कि भाई 5 दिन लगने वाले हैं और ब्रांड वहां पे प्रॉमिस कर रहे हैं मैं 2 दिन में डिलीवर करूंगा। सो आप पहले अलाइन तो कर लो आप। सो व्हेन यू स्टार्ट ट्रीटिंग दीज पार्टनर एज इन, इफ यू स्टार्ट ट्रीटिंग अस एज अ पार्टनर, वी देयर आर लॉट ऑफ थिंग्स टू बी लर्नड अपॉन। बट आप
राइट।
कमांड करना चालू कर दो विच इज थोड़ा ओवरबाउंड, तो फिर डेफिनेटली ये सब चीजें आती है।
नहीं यार, वेरी वेरी ब्यूटीफुल पॉइंट। आई थिंक आपने सब कुछ कर लिया, लेकिन आपने अगर लास्ट माइल अच्छा नहीं किया तो इट वुडंट मैटर, एंड यू चीप आउट ऑन वन थिंग एंड इट अफेक्ट्स एवरीथिंग।
एवरीथिंग।
आपका ब्रांड एक्सपीरियंस, आपका प्रोडक्ट एक्सपीरियंस, योर रीपर्चेज रेट, योर रिव्यू। क्योंकि मेरे को तो आई एम यूज्ड टू द Amazon एक्सपीरियंस।
करेक्ट।
आई एम अ प्राइम मेंबर, मुझे चाहिए हर चीज 2 दिन में, 1 दिन में। मुझे नहीं मिलती, मेरे को एंग्जाइटी होती है। तो अगर एज अ ब्रांड आई वांट, if not 2 days, I want to know when my product is coming, and you know knowing that अच्छा हाँ मैं घर पे हूँ, मैंने कुछ high value मंगाया है, and not having a good logistics experience of it can truly break my experience of that product, and the aha moment of buying online, the
खत्म हो जाता
experience
है
breaks.
ना।
हाँ।
It also affects directly on the trust factor as well of your
Yeah.
brand. If
Yeah.
आपने सब करके आपने फैंसी एड चला लिया, आपने कन्विंस कर दिया मुझे बाय करने के लिए, बट इफ आई एम नॉट एबल टू डिलीवर, देन वो ट्रस्ट चला गया। आई विल नॉट बी गोइंग अगेन एंड बाइंग फ्रॉम योर वेबसाइट बिकॉज आई से यार वो ठीक है, सिर्फ बोलने की बात है, करते नहीं है। So that
Exactly.
and being a logistic partner or being a logistic aggregator, we have lot of insights with us that as to which company is serving better in which area, what and the most important part is communication. We communicate with end customer on every step. We keep on informing the customers that okay, your order has been picked up, it is out for delivery, or whatever is the update with respect to the order. We keep on
Yeah.
updating and informing the customer. A well informed customer लाइकली उसका जो डिलीवरी का रेशियो है वो काफी हाई रहता है वर्सेस वो कैरियर जो सिर्फ 1 या 2 मैसेज भेजता है कि अभी पिकअप हो गया और आउट फॉर डिलीवरी है, वो रीजन में। इफ वी ऑन एवरी स्टेज वी कीप इन्फॉर्मिंग द कस्टमर। अगर हमने बोला है ईडीडी 1 तारीख का है एंड इफ इट इज गेटिंग डिलेड, वी ऑल्सो इन्फॉर्म द कस्टमर दैट इट इज गेटिंग डिलेड बाय 2 days 3 days, सो दैट कस्टमर इज वेल इन्फॉर्म्ड। उनका
Right.
एग्रीगेशन का जो उनका गुस्सा है वो कम हो जाता है उस पर।
नहीं
सो
यार,
ये सब
absolutely.
बहुत छोटी छोटी चीजें हैं जिसपे बहुत पब्लिक when you want to choose a logistic partner, these are the things you should ensure that ये सब चीजें होती है क्या नहीं। बिकॉज ये भले ही दिखने में होगा कि यार 2 या 3 SMS तो एक्स्ट्रा भेज रहे हैं, बट उसका इम्पैक्ट जो है ओवरऑल वो बहुत
मैसिव
बड़ा
होता है। अरे बहुत सिंपल एग्जांपल है सर। आप अगर आज उबर मंगाते हो, जोमेटो स्विगी से खाना मंगाते हो, यू सी राइडर एग्जैक्टली कहाँ है, क्या आप उसको
करेक्ट।
कंट्रोल कर सकते हो? नहीं कर सकते। बट द फीलिंग ऑफ नोइंग वेयर समथिंग इज gives me trust, gives me makes me feel like I am in control even though I'm not in
करेक्ट।
control, and
डेफिनेटली।
that psychologically gives you peace, and that is good experience. And
करेक्ट।
so completely agreed with you ki over communicate at every step, very very important. So let's dive in. We'll break this down into 3 parts: during order, sorry, pre-order, during order, and then post order. क्या क्या challenges आते हैं, right? We talked about abandoned cart, our team pulled out key our averages could be 51 to 60%, could be higher, could be lower for different categories. But something that we have seen a lot, uh, we've seen this happen because typically payment failure is a big one.
Mhm.
That is almost a low hanging fruit. It's not their fault also. It's the payment, it's the system issue. And because of that, look, they change their mind. Sometimes people are, they're just like sitting and thinking, is this something that I want to do? And it's a revenue opportunity loss. It's a very low hanging fruit. You've gotten them to the last point. Uh, and that's really where it becomes a very, very big issue. We have a poll going on, everyone. They say, just tell us what you think. If what we said makes sense to you, tell us what your feedback is. We'll discuss that. Uh, in terms of abandoned cart, one of the biggest things that we have seen at our end at SquadStack is that typically WhatsApp messages and reminders are is something that you can do. A lot
Mhm.
of teams do it. It's easy. It's not difficult to implement it. बहुत आसान है करना. आप bot लगा सकते हो, and it's a solution that exists. So उससे people are able to get maybe a 10-20% lift max.
Correct.
If you're getting more, great. Very, very good. But ultimately, if a buyer is not buying, they have a concern, right?
Hmm.
It's usually because of price or product. दो तीन issues हो सकते हैं. That's where what we have seen is that companies that have deployed calling, a telecalling team to call and reach out and understand क्या problem है, have delivered better results. One of the largest eyewear companies in India do this. Some of the largest e-commerce brands in the country do this, where they've deployed teams of anywhere between 50 to 100 people, just focused on abandoned cart because it's ready revenue.
Yeah.
And all you have to do is not push sell. You have to understand concern क्या था. सर आप ये
Correct.
प्रोडक्ट देख रहे थे, आप नहीं बाय कर पाए. अच्छा आपका पेमेंट फेलियर था. Can we do something else? Can you try a different link? Or you want to, you've done a COD order, but we have a discount going. Can you push that and get them to convert to a prepaid order? Uh, Anything that can get them across the finish line while adding value is something that, at least in our experience, has delivered a 5 to 10x ROI quite easily. And that increases your bottom line. It adds to every other metric and improves your overall funnel. And something that's extremely powerful. Uh, so abandoned carts, first
Right.
step of the
Definitely
problem.
calling is again, अगर कोई बंदा सामने से कॉल कर रहा है, that also gives a comfort to the customer as well that it is a genuine company.
Right.
एक बार क्या है, भले बॉट आ गया, एसएमएस आ गया, आजकल इतने फ्रॉड चलते हैं, पब्लिक को डर लगता है कि किस पे क्लिक करूं नहीं करूं, बट इफ देयर इज अ
Right.
कॉल एंड if the person is explaining things कि सर क्या हुआ क्या नहीं हुआ, ऐसा करो वैसा करो, it gives the customer a comfort that okay, they are dealing with a genuine company, and that also builds a trust. So ये cases में भी definitely the delivery ratios का फर्क पड़ेगा. Definitely
Right.
agree to your point. Yeah.
Makes sense. So something we should all consider if you're dealing with abandoned cart problems,
Hmm.
look at your funnel, see why you're losing out on on your cart. क्या issues आ रहे हैं, payment issues है, कोई और issue है. Maybe just try calling a few people and understanding, so आपको you get a better sense, and then see how calling can help your business there.
Yeah.
The next big one is NDR RTO, sir. You would be expert of this. आपका, this is your bread and butter day in day out. We've seen that failed deliveries can affect, NDRs can be as high as 20%, RTOs can be as high as 30-40%, like you said.
Mhm.
That again is eating into a big chunk of the funnel. Uh, Thoda, maybe if you can explain why does this happen, that would really, really help.
So, like I explained earlier, NDR is basically non-delivery,
Right.
non-delivery report. Whenever there is an exception to a normal delivery, in that case, the NDR or the exception gets raised by the carrier, which then has to be given an instruction to the carrier whether you want to reattempt the delivery or you want to return the delivery. So again, not all cases of NDR falls under the instruction thing. Like there could be a case that business is closed today, So automatically the instruction goes there that you have to reattempt it again. But then again, so आपका exception raise कब हो रहा है and at what time you are giving the instruction to the courier company, that plays a very important role, right? So one is that, so NDR के काफी reasons हो सकते हैं. Customer not available, payment issues है, customer को open delivery चाहिए, customer doesn't remember that he has ordered something, maybe customer says that I want a future date delivery, customer says अभी नहीं थोड़ी देर के बाद हो, XYZ, whatever the reason is. So ये reasons carrier pass on करती है clients को for the alternate instruction, and basis that alternate instruction the next course of action takes place. Either it gets reattempted or it gets returned. So NDR is something where if you play or if you have a strategic process in place, the moment there is an NDR raised, you immediately call up the customer, you understand the issue, what was it, whether it was the customer issue, whether it was a carrier issue, accordingly take alternate instruction and immediately pass it on to the courier company. Because courier company always keeps on receiving orders to their hubs, right? So if you give them the instruction within 24 hours, then the package are in priority list. The more the delay you do, the packages goes in the back, as in there are no more a priority because there are fresh packages coming in. So उनकी priority नहीं होता. अगर आपको आज exception आ गया, आप immediately instruction दे दो, अगले दिन जाके reattempt होता ही है. So for this, we have a very unique process, the NDR calling process. So what happens is, the moment a carrier raises an exception, it hits the system with the APIs and all. So immediately a call trigger hota hai end customer ko. We ask them what is the issue. Why, as in, for example, if the carrier says that there was a payment issue with the customer, so we ask the customer whether the courier company attempted you, whether they asked you this amount, whether you said that the payment is not ready. Do you want to reschedule the delivery? Do you want us to reattempt the delivery next day or maybe 2 days later? So all these things we capture, and basis that we give instruction immediately to carrier the same day on within a few minutes of the exception raised. So ये केस में क्या हो गया, वो ऑटोमेटिकली उनके सिस्टम में आ गया और वो शिपमेंट अभी भी प्रायोरिटी पे है. सो एनडीआर टू डिलीवरी रेशियो जो अगर हम मैच करेंगे, so NDR to delivery ratio with us is more than 70%.
Wow.
So that
very nice. Right. And this is something that we've also seen at our end, Vishal, where we talk to businesses when, anyone who's and you and I were talking here, calling करने से 50% increase देखा है आपने of delivery rate.
बिल्कुल.
Which again, ultimately, it's bottom line. Why would you not make a simple 1-minute call if you can increase 50% deliveries with a system that, turnaround time is important. आपको जल्दी call करना है, आपको quickly dispose करना है. And you need to also, as you're obviously a courier company, so like a logistics partner, so you also need to ensure if the carrier is not messing around. Maybe the carrier made a mistake. You want to at least ensure with the customer कि यार look, genuinely उसको नहीं चाहिए था या फिर अरे delivery attempt ही नहीं हुई. And that helps you hold the carrier accountable as well, right?
Definitely.
And so
do all these things. So we take the data and we
right.
all at every fortnightly we review this with the carrier that okay, these are the percentages where you have raised a fake remark.
Right.
That customer wanted the product, but you have raised a fake remark that नहीं वो अभी available नहीं है, नहीं चाहिए, cancel है वगैरह वगैरह. And this is something basis that we do a lot of RCAs, and this has also helped the carriers to streamline their processes at the particular centers as well, because
makes sense.
It is all human driven industry, right? So उसको बार बार ऑप्टिमाइज करना रहता है आपको, तो दैट हेल्प्स एज वेल. एंड सेकेंडली जो कॉलिंग वाला पार्ट है, हो सकता है ठीक है एट स्केल when you are having a lot of orders and team and etc, you can still manage to have callers at your end to do calls. But what we as a service provider or as an enabler or as a helping hand to our sellers, we don't expect our clients to do the same. because it is not their part of the job, right? It is because of it is because they are paying for something and it is not getting done. We feel this is our responsibility to do it. So we,
Right.
on behalf of them, we call it. And
Nice.
since we know what to talk, how to deal with these kind of things, it gives lot of other things as well, because my team knows what operational challenges are there. So
Right.
accordingly, they can handle the situation and they can escalate it to the proper team at the back end that way. But
Right.
many times client says that हम लोग call कर लेंगे, हम आपको instruction देंगे. But the crux here is that the time, आपने कितना जल्दी मुझे इंस्ट्रक्शन दिया, दैट
Right.
इज द मैटर. आप मेरे को 2 दिन के
Right.
बाद दोगे कि यार अब वो रीअटेम्प्ट कर लो, गया वो पार्सल.
Yeah. Yeah.
तो हियर
Absolutely.
द क्रक्स इज द टाइम. सो जितना
Same
जल्दी
date, other
कर
on
सकते
time.
हो,
हाँ. Absolutely.
दैट वे.
In fact, like we have a partner where 9 बजे के बाद जो भी इश्यूज आते हैं, बिकॉज 9 बजे के बाद आप कॉल नहीं कर सकते हो, तो वो नेक्स्ट डे मॉर्निंग बैकलॉग बन जाता है, एंड you have to get to that within the first 1-2 hours of a day and just like wrap it up and then close the loop. So speed is of essence, and compliance, and जैसे आपने बोला सारा proof होना चाहिए आपके पास यार genuine था नहीं था. So obviously having a good infrastructure, and great that you're doing it for your customers, because they may not be able to do it at their end on their own. And they shouldn't be expected to. I mean, matlab, wo, it's a part of the
We don't
package.
expect our client to do it. It is our,
Right.
as in we feel this is our job.
Right. So after delivery, I think so. Just poll coming in. Do you think good customer experience wins over product and service? Everybody pretty much largely agrees. 3 people said no. But let's go with the majority here. So everyone, I think, is broadly okay with what we're discussing here. And would love to understand from the 3 people who say otherwise what your feedback would be. Talking about after delivery, again, this is the holy grail of D2C. मतलब सबको चाहिए repeat customer. And बहुत कम लोगों के पास playbook है, at least
Correct.
what I've seen. There is no defined CRM, retargeting strategy, cross-sell, upsell strategy, follow-up strategy. It's a mess. It's जब समझ में आया तब कर दिया ping. There is no focus on अच्छा, if you buy this product, then इतने time चलेगा, then इतने बाद time मुझे phone करना चाहिए या reach out करना चाहिए. There's no strategy here, and obviously this is bread and butter. I mean, this is your math. This is business math 101. आपका LTV है, CAC है और रेशियो है, और जितना आपका LTV CAC रेशियो बढ़ेगा उतना कैश फ्लो बढ़ेगा, उतना आप मार्केटिंग में इन्वेस्ट कर सकते हो, उतना ग्रो कर सकते हो. And you know that's the flywheel. It's not rocket science. Anyone who's running an e-commerce business understands this. But what I feel surprised by several times is how many people do not have a good strategy behind driving a repurchase program. And I know you strongly feel this is something that, you know, Shipyaari also is looking to drive, and something that we see at our end as well. Tell me more about where you see the challenges with your customer base.
See, when we analyze things, as in we keep on deep diving on our data and other things, so we always see that the repurchase, for if we have a particular client, we see how many repurchases that client has. Basis that, we also categorize clients into different segments, that if a particular client has more repurchases, then it is a genuine brand kind of thing. It is for our own internal things. But definitely when we see all these data, we see that there are very less brands who actually work on the repurchases part. अभी मुझे एक चीज नहीं समझ में आती, अगर आपके पास कस्टमर आ गया है, आप उसको जो चाहिए वो बेचो ना. Why do you don't want to sell? Why do you want to go out and bring new customers? Then you can
Right.
serve your existing set of customers. एक तो चीज वो हो जाती है. सेकेंडली द प्रोडक्ट रेंज, एक वो प्रॉब्लम है कि जहां पे जिस कैटेगरी में या जो ब्रांड एक बहुत लिमिटेड SKUs में काम करता है, उसका LTV बहुत कम होता है, उसका CAC हमेशा हाई रहेगा, बिकॉज ही डजंट हैव those kind of different offerings to be made to the customer. So with at Shipyaari, what we are trying here is how we can help the brands to bring in a lot more repeat orders. उस पे we are working upon, we are building on something which will help the brands to have lot many repurchases, and wherein a service like you will come into picture, that how we can help getting more orders, maybe through
Right.
feedback calls, maybe through NPS calls, maybe through uh, whatever call, as in if we are connected with the customers, and if we have the first hand information as to what they are looking at, or what they are doing upon, and what they feel about our brand, what are their feedbacks, so it will help the brands to improve on the product part. It will help them again to build their loyal customer fan base, and so on and so forth. And ultimately LTV, by any reason, जितना LTV उनका बढ़ेगा, उतना आपका और मेरा धंधा भी बढ़ेगा.
Yeah, absolutely. And ultimately, in a partnership ecosystem, everybody only wins when everyone makes money, right? Very
Yeah,
simple.
has to be.
So one of the things, some of the things that we have seen is key, make cohorts, look at different types of personas, slice the data, kya demographics, kya cities, kahan se log aa rahe hain, kya age profile hai, what type of categories they're buying together, what type of products do they buy, uh, and then reach out with very simple feedback calls. You don't even have to sell anything. Just
Correct.
understand आपका क्या experience था हमारे product के साथ, and अगर अच्छा था, hey, by the way, we have this. You used our shampoo. Did you know that we have this, body wash as well? I'm just making a bad example, but
Yeah,
you have the opportunity to upsell, cross sell. If you like something, we also have this, and is that something that you'd be interested in? And I have seen some teams absolutely crush it with repurchase teams through a telecalling setup and sorted outbound strategy कि यार इस cohort पे focus करते हैं, अगर ये product खरीदा है तो इतने दिन बाद phone करते हैं,
correct.
अगर ये product खरीदा है तो इतने दिन बाद call करते हैं, इतने दिन बाद outreach करते हैं, इतने दिन बाद feedback call करते हैं, and a methodical strategy at the same time. Very important not to spam customers.
Correct.
आप आपको डेटाबेस ऐसे बनाना पड़ेगा अपने सीआरएम में या जहां भी आप यूज कर रहे हैं टू इंश्योर दैट यू आर नॉट स्पैमिंग पीपल. डोंट एवर डू दैट, बट meaningful, thoughtful outreach of, because you're representing, you want to know what your brand is about and how people are using it and consuming the
Correct.
product.
Correct.
Which brings us to the last part, which is customer feedback. Again, we talk about this a lot, and India may this is just starting to pick up, but I don't see a lot of emphasis on this. A lot of it is gut driven, unfortunately. Ki yaar,
Mm.
I know enough about my product and brand. But reality is D2C is extremely competitive because several brands out there don't even do their own manufacturing. You're just marketing companies, you're packaging products and you're shipping them. Uh, and so one of the biggest problem statements is that what product to innovate on, what should we create, how is my brand being perceived out there, how is this new product launch. It's very abstract. It is gut feel driven largely, and
Definitely.
with the amount of data that any e-commerce company sits on, it's a data driven business. आपको everything from your ad to your purchase to your entire funnel, सब कुछ तो data driven है. So feedback क्यों data driven नहीं है is something that we see time and again, and leadership obviously spends time doing it, but there is so much data that sits in those feedback customer conversations that can help you improve your product, improve your marketing, improve and help you understand exactly how customers feel about your product, create better journey. And iske liye bhi you can create so many cohorts. If they give you low NPS, find out why. If they give you a low customer satisfaction score, find out why. If they returned your product, call and find out what happened. If you create a new product, call and find out what happened. If you have promoters, find out what they like about your product and why they're promoting. Or if you want to do an audit, like there are so many things that you can do to know more about your end customer and create actionable insight. क्योंकि problem क्या है कि NPS, I strongly believe this, and people will hate me for it. NPS is a lagging indicator. I don't even like it. मेरी
NPS
प्रॉब्लम हो चुकी
fast.
है.
Yeah.
हाँ, मेरी प्रॉब्लम हो चुकी है. अभी मुझे एनपीएस स्कोर दिख रहा है, अच्छा नहीं है. अभी मैं क्या करूं इसका? बट मुझे पता नहीं है ना क्यों एनपीएस अच्छा नहीं है. तो यू रियली नीड टू गेट अहेड ऑफ इट and understand why something is happening. And it's not just about like talking to people, it's also about using that data.
Correct.
आज आपने कॉल किया, आपने बोला अच्छा सर कैसा लगा, अच्छा लगा, okay sir, thank you. This also doesn't help, right? You have to probe, you have to your telecaller has to go, acha, you didn't like the product, why didn't you like the product? Oh, this, the material was the problem. Why? What about the material was the problem? Use that data. Acha, ye data aa gaya mere paas. Oh, which SKU is this for? This SKU was manufactured at this time, so there may be a manufacturing defect with this vendor that we have. Suddenly you're running a very intelligent machine.
Intelligent, yeah. You take very informed decisions basis the data points, right? As in,
Absolutely.
again, we have to
Absolutely.
invest lot of time and efforts on the R&D.
Yeah.
If you are not investing more on R&D, then all these things what we are talking about, it will only come when you introspect, right? As in, one is you introspect proactively, one you will introspect reactively.
Yeah.
जितना proactively करोगे उतना chances है you will come up with more better products, more variety of products, more better offerings. Reactive में तो भाई चिड़िया चुग गई खेत, अब क्या ही कर लोगे यार, ऐसा है वो.
Yeah.
So
No, that's true.
definitely, yeah.
Absolutely. I think so. That's really what we wanted to talk about largely. Have a data-driven, intentional strategy about your logistics. Very, very important to have a meaningful outreach setup to your customers for both pre, during, and post-sales processes.
Correct.
Using data to make better decisions, investing in logistics to enhance customer experience, drive reviews, drive better outcomes, increase repurchase rates. So that's really the end of the conversation, and we wanted to leave some time for questions. Please, there's a Q&A box. Please add in your open questions so that Vishal or I can answer them. We'd love to take a few questions directly from people. So looks like a lot of people are making calls,
Yeah.
which is great. So I think that's a good sign that this is happening. If you're not, maybe something for you to explore. For the one person who's not doing anything, maybe worth exploring to improve your conversions. But feel free to add questions. We'll wait a couple of minutes to get a few questions going.
So
but
I would like to add something, as in,
please, Vishal. Yes.
Although we normally encourage our clients to experiment a lot with the services, the brand should also be more open with experimentation in terms of, since I am from the logistic background, I'll say you should do a lot of experimentation in the logistic field, but definitely with different segments you should do a lot of experimentation. Normally what happens is एक कोई चीज चल गई उसी को चलाते रहेंगे. They don't do different variations, they don't do different kind of strategy to it. For example, there are a lot of customers, so we have started hyperlocal. It is more than 8 months now, but still I can see there are a lot of people who still uses courier for the local delivery. They don't want to do an experiment ki yaar main kyun naya. But if for example, if you are doing a courier for a local delivery versus you are doing a hyperlocal for a local delivery, that will bring a lot of customer experience, change in customer experience. आज आपका ऑर्डर आया और वो आज ही डिलीवर हो गया, दैट वो एक पर्टिकुलर एक जो एक्सपीरियंस आएगा आपके कस्टमर को, दैट विल ब्रिंग लॉट ऑफ मोर सेल, बिकॉज वो कस्टमर नथिंग बेटर देन माउथ टू माउथ पब्लिसिटी, राइट? ही विल रेफर योर नेम टू मेनी अदर कस्टमर्स कि यहाँ से ले लो यार, उसका ऑर्डर सेम डे आ जाता है. But it is only when you experiment with lot of things, and if you want, for example, we say that जैसा हमारा था भी, how to give the Amazon experience. Try out the fulfillment centers. आप जितना पास में स्टोर करोगे उतना फास्ट आप डिलीवर कर पाओगे, उतना फास्ट, जितना फास्ट आप कस्टमर को दोगे उतना कस्टमर आपको ज्यादा, he'll trust you more, he'll refer you more, and that is how you will grow organically.
Absolutely.
So ये सारी चीजें है, and same thing by using different tools to improve the overall things. जैसे काफी सारे लोग calls नहीं कर रहे, calling करो यार, as in ठीक है, for not for a process, but definitely speak to your clients very often that that will give you a lot of insights. मैंने कुछ सोच के प्रोडक्ट बनाया है और वो क्लाइंट, वो मेरा कस्टमर कुछ अलग चीज उससे कर रहा है जो मैंने सोची ही नहीं कभी. That will give me another perspective. यार सही है. Like we had the day we had discussed on the breakfast, right? कि यार ये भी सही चीज हो सकती है.
Absolutely. No, makes sense. We have two questions come on chat. One was Rishabh asking, heard NDR orders that got delivered was 70%. I think Vishal, you said that.
Mhm.
Is there a different metric for COD NDRs? Have you seen any conversion ratios there that are good to look at?
So like I said, the NDR ratio for prepaid is very low and the RTO is very low. So the ratio what I was referring to was more towards the COD only.
Oh wow, COD orders 70% delivery rate.
Yeah. So
NDR
COD
के
and
बाद.
NDR to delivery ratio is that much.
Wonderful, very good. Might have missed this, but how can one give back an NDR response in the same day? We send emails which get action mostly next day. Rishabh, you call and you turn it around quickly. You can use SquadStack for doing that, or if you use Shipyaari, they have NDR support as well. Or
Shipyaari, you
SquadStack.
don't have to worry. We are
You
taking
use
care of it.
Shipyaari, you don't have to worry. If you don't use Shipyaari, you can use SquadStack to make calls
Yeah.
if required. That can be turned around very quickly with recordings, dashboarding, etc. Calling does
Definitely, one
definitely.
thing what he mentioned that he emails the instruction. So
Yeah.
now again, one is that when do you download the instruction, as in when do you download the report, the exception report? When do you call or when do you give the alternate instruction at what time? Maybe you are sending an email in the evening. Maybe
Yeah.
at that time, due to the other priorities, the email is not been attended, and it is only seen the next day morning when
Yeah.
already the DRS and other things have been taken care by the courier companies. Again, you have lost the first day and you have lost the second day as well.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
again, we have to see when we are downloading the reports, when we are sending it, and whether there is any kind of acknowledgement given by the carrier or by the logistic partner about it that okay, the instruction has been forwarded. And in most of the cases, in many of the companies, the moment you give the instruction, it it gets updated on the tracking as well, that we have received an alternate instruction. So you can always check whether you have given the instruction and whether it has been updated on the tracking or not.
Right. Right. Rishabh does respond with the quantum is huge to make calls to multiple partners. Rishabh, it won't be, and it's worth the ROI. If you are not able to make calls, SquadStack can potentially help you. And feel free to reach out to us after this and we can talk more. I don't see any more questions come up on the chat. We are just about 10 minutes behind our time. And I think the one thing that Vishal and I were talking about was that Vishal has hundreds of customers who work with him who need help with running scalable calling campaigns. And so we're looking at figuring out a collaboration where you know SquadStack can help through Shipyaari help you run efficient calling campaigns for things like abandoned carts, repurchase, NDR, RTO, etc. Things like that, which help you, especially repurchase, feedback, surveys, reviews, like post sales related stuff, which is highly focused on generating extra revenue for you all. Those are areas that we're exploring. We'll reach out to all of you all once that's ready and good to go. I think Rishabh, you have two specific logistics related questions. Maybe we can take them separately off the webinar, perhaps. And Vishal, do you mind dropping in your email here so we can, Rishabh, we can sort of help you connect with Vishal separately for several of these areas, and we can obviously talk more after this as well. Would be happy to help you figure out how we can do this. Yeah, sharing contact details on emails on chat. All right, I think we don't have any more questions, but thank you so much, everybody. SquadStack team, can you please ensure that contact details for emails for Vishal and our sales team are there. So in case anyone needs help to explore something, we can reach back out. But Vishal sir, thank you so much. This was incredible. Always fun catching up. And we, next time you're in town, we need to grab breakfast again and come up with a new webinar idea
Definitely.
that we have to run.
Yeah.
But thank you so much for taking the time. It was a great conversation.
Thank you, Rishabh, for having me. And yes, it was a very lovely conversation. Looking forward for more
All right.
breakfast and more stories.
Yes, absolutely. Chalo. Thank you so much. Take care.
Thank
See
you.
you.
Bye-bye.
Thanks everyone for joining in. And let us know if you found this helpful. And feel free to reach out to either Shipyaari for your logistics requirements or SquadStack for your telecalling requirements. If there's anything we can do to help, please consider us a resource. And good luck. Take care. Have a great rest of the week. Thank you so much. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. Have a nice day ahead. Thank you.